This week on Forever Spinning, we take a trip to Southern California as we look at the Offspring's mega hit skate punk record, Smash.
Perfect.
The Offspring originally hailed from Garden Grove, California, and feature Brian Dexter Holland on vocals and guitar, Todd Morse on bass, Kevin Noodles Wasserman on guitars, and Pete Parada on drums. After independently releasing their first two records, the band signed with Epitaph Records for their third LP. Brett Gurewitz, the owner of Epitaph Records and also the guitarist for Bad Religion, had a very good feeling about the release of this album. He has gone on record to say that he would drive around his neighborhood in his 1984 Volvo with the final mix of Smash blasting as loud as it can on his cassette tape. He went as far as remortgaging his house to help pay for extra pressings of this record. And it's a good thing that he did, because Smash would go on to sell over 10 million copies, making it the best-selling independently released rock album of all time. So what made Smash such a smash hit? Well, timing was everything. The record was released a mere 2 months after Green Day's mammoth hit Dookie was released, which had initiated punk to be catapulted into the mainstream. Relatable and catchy lyrics, fast and heavy chords, and an eye-catching look helped the Offspring bring their sound to a larger audience than ever before. The Offspring were smart kids acting dumb. I mean, Dexter Holland is, after all, a molecular biologist. They weren't just making loud noises on their instruments, nor were they pushing the limits of musical composition. Instead, they were just channeling their inner fears, angers, and life experiences to help create music that the masses would enjoy. While some people might call this tactic selling out, it was more brilliant than anything. They made music that the youth needed to hear, even if that came at the cost of having a more universally likable sound. After recording a track record in North Hollywood, the album was then mixed and produced by Tom Wilson and was finally released on April 8th, 1994. Come Out and Play was the first single to be released alongside of Smash. This song's lyrical content is all about joining a gang and committing crimes while you're young because, quote, "You're under 18, you won't be doing any time." This song's message is reflected upon poorly by the band now, after the attacks on Eddie Pollock in Fox Chase, Pennsylvania, which is really not too far from where I live at all. In 1994, Eddie was brutally attacked and murdered by a gang of teenagers with baseball bats. In multiple interviews, the band will talk about what happened to Eddie, and while they don't take responsibility for what happened because, well, they didn't do it, they do feel like they somewhat incited this violence by encouraging young people to join gangs and commit these violent crimes. Aside from its darker lyrical content, the song was also immediately under fire because it had stolen a riff from the band Agent Orange on their song Bloodstains. While this idea of plagiarism is still hotly debated, Epitaph and Agent Orange had finally come to a settlement where for every copy of Smash that was sold, Agent Orange would receive a penny, which at the time of the settlement ended up being around $60,000. I really hope that that rift was worth it. The second single to come out of Smash was the radio hit Self-Esteem. Self-Esteem tells the story of a man who is constantly being walked over by his girlfriend. Holland admits that the story behind this song is somewhat true about a past relationship that he had with a woman similar to the one in the song. He said that a lot of the lyrics came from his own personal experiences of constantly being walked over by his then girlfriend, which left him with zero self-esteem. This track would end up peaking at number 4 on the Billboard Alternative Songs chart. Gotta Get Away is the final single to be released during the Smash era. This song, once again written by Holland, talks about the pressure that he was under to complete this record in a timely manner. Much like the rest of this LP, it deals with self-loathing and paranoia, as Holland felt trapped inside his own head. This actually was the last song written and recorded for the album, as they really were on a time crunch. While it did not receive as much airplay as Self-Esteem or Come Out and Play, it still charted fairly well for what it was doing. Although this album is frequently looked upon as being a sellout album, it still deserves recognition for being monumental for skate punk. Alongside with Green Day, the Offspring were able to bring punk music to a mainstream audience. It's an album full of catchy songs that helped launch punk into young people's homes who needed it the most, who were dealing with their fears, angers, and angst. It also helped to inspire many artists who would go on to create countless albums that would help scratch that pop punk itch that the public had. No, It's not revolutionary, nor did it change the landscape of punk. Instead, Smash succeeds at being an adored album by both old fans and new ones. It's not the most important record to be released in 1994, but that doesn't mean you should completely dismiss it. There's a time and a place for Smash, and that's kind of the most important part of all of this. It brought people together at its release, and it still brings people together to this very day. Hell, I even saw the Offspring last summer at the Warped Tour reunion, and it was a really good time. Everybody was enjoying themselves, everybody was singing along to all of their classic songs, not only off Smash, but also Americana, and that shows what punk is best at, especially at Warped Tour. It's bringing the people who felt forgotten, or the people who don't feel like they're in the right place, and brings them together to feel good about themselves and to feel good about other people, to show that they're not alone. These four suburban kids from California knew exactly what they were doing, and they executed it perfectly. So, if you've never heard this album before, or if it is a personal favorite of yours, the Offspring Smash will always be forever spinning. Thanks for watching.